And hello, 10th graders at People's Baptist. We're finally getting a good video for y'all for our geometry class. Just to let you know, I have missed all y'all. We have great conversations in class. So unfortunately, the no conversations are going on, but we're just going to have a good lesson. This is a relatively easy lesson as we get started into chapter 11, areas of triangles and parallelograms. These are things that we've grown up knowing, hopefully. You should know basically how to do a rectangle or in squares, which is base times height. That gives you area. Well, the parallelogram, as we just went through the sections before, is basically a rectangle or a square that doesn't have right angles. So it's still following the same principles of base times height. You just may not have the height right there in front of you, but in these examples you will. And then a triangle basically is half of a parallelogram. So it's 1/2 base times height. Now these are your guided practice. The first three, they're on page 721 here. If we look at this first triangle right here, we can see we have a 17 side, we have a 10 side, and we have a 21 side. So the questions here were saying find the perimeter and then find the area. So if we take our three sides and add them together, 10 plus 17 plus 21, we'll get 48. So our perimeter is just adding the outsides, the sides, the three sides, the 17, the 10, and the 21, and we get 48. If we are going to work on our area, so our perimeter is 48 by taking the three sides, 17, 10, and 21, adding them together. That is a terrible 8. For our area, we take our base times height divided by 2. Our height, if we're looking at this right angle right here is telling us it's going straight up. So this line right there is telling us that is our height, which is 8. Our base is the one basically on the bottom, 21 times 8. So we take 8 times 21, which gives us 168, and divide it by 2, which gives us 84. So our area equals 84. 1/2 base times height, or base times height divided by 2. I like dividing it by 2 because most people don't like fractions. So as we look at our second one here, we have a parallelogram. If we are working for our perimeter, we're going to add up the sides. You say, but Brother Vaughn, we're missing the top. Well, whatever the base is, that is what the top is. Whatever the side is, 20, is 20 over there. So we get 30 plus 30 and 20 plus 20. 60 plus 40. Our perimeter is 100. Now for our area, it's base, 1 on the bottom, times our height. That right angle there is telling us it's a 90-degree angle going straight up. So that is our height, which is 17. So we take 30 times 17. And since this is not a triangle, we don't have to worry about dividing it in half or anything like that. So 30 times 17 is 510. 510 will be our answer for our area on the parallelogram, base times height. Now we get down to our third one here, number 3 down here, and we're missing a side on this triangle. But luckily, we have this right angle right here. That's going to help us because now we can use Pythagorean theorem. Say Pythagorean theorem? Yes. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. C is always the side opposite of the right angle, which is your hypotenuse. So we have 13 already figured out. That's our C. We have an A, which is 5, and a B, which is blank down there. So we would write it as 5 squared plus b squared equals 13 squared. So we figure it out. 25 plus b squared equals 169. Subtract 25 from both sides because now we're just following our normal equation rules. So b squared equals 169 minus 25 is 144. but we don't have b by itself because it's b squared. We will square root both sides, and b square root of 144 is 12. So our bottom is 12. So if we take our three sides, 5, 13, and 12, and add them together, our perimeter equals 30. And if we now take our base times height and divide it by 2, we can find our area. Well, our base is the bottom, which is 12. Our height, which is the line going up, is 5. 5 times 12 is 60, divided by 2, and our area is 30 as well. Sometimes that happens where the perimeter and the area will be together. Most of the time, it does not happen that way. So that's how you do your first three when you're doing base times height. And then with triangle, you have base times height divided by 2. Now, number 4 on our guided practice is somewhat of a word problem, and it gives you all the information you need to find the answer, though. It says a parallelogram has an area of 153 square inches and a height of 17. What is the length of the base? So if we have base times height equals area, if it tells us that our area is 153 and our height is 17, we have b times 17 equals 173. Well, we got to get b by itself. We divide it by 17. So what we do to one side, we have to do to the other side. So we got to divide it by 17, giving us b. Well, 153 divided by 17 is 9. So even when it's in word form, all you do is you take the information that it gives you, plug it into the equation. You know, base times height equals area. It gave us a height, it gave us an area, we solve for the b, and we come up with our answer of 9. Now this one is one of the problems on your work that you're going to have to do. It's just another example of the triangle we did on number 3, just on the guided practice. It gives us words, hypotenuse 15, the leg is 12. Okay, so if we got to draw out a triangle, our hypotenuse is 15, our leg is 12, we've got to find out what is that variable that's missing there. So we figure it out with a squared plus 12 squared equals 15 squared. So a squared plus 144 equals 225. 15 times 15 is 225. So we have to subtract 144 from both sides. Those cancel, giving us a squared equals 225 minus 144 is 81. And a squared being the square root, it gives you a. Square root 81 gives you 9. So our missing side for x there is 9. So it's just what we did a minute ago. You have to plug in the formula, plug in the numbers you have for it, and be able to work it out. And that should take care of everything you need here for a lesson, Chapter 11, Section 1.